There was a time in my life when I thought I was doing okay, until I realized that almost every day, I was betraying myself. I said I'd wake up early, but I snoozed. I said I'd study, but I scrolled. I said I'd hit the gym, but I stayed in bed. And slowly, without even noticing, my life became proof of one thing: I had no discipline. Here's the truth: without discipline, every promise you make to yourself becomes a lie. You say you'll change, but you don't. You say you'll start, but you quit. You say you'll build something, but all you build are excuses. And the worst part? You don't just lose progress, you lose respect for yourself. Every time I failed to follow through, I didn't just feel lazy, I felt weak, pathetic, and stuck in a cycle I couldn't break. If you're living like that right now, I want you to know something: you're not lazy. You're not hopeless. You're just undisciplined. And discipline isn't something you're born with, it's something you build. But building it means tearing down every comfortable lie you've been telling yourself. Most people think discipline is about willpower. Like if you just try harder, somehow everything will magically fall into place. But if you've tried white-knuckling your way through change, you already know how that ends: a few days of effort, then collapse, then guilt, then back to square one. The reason discipline feels impossible isn't because you're weak. It's because your brain is addicted to comfort. Every time you choose the easy path, hitting snooze, ordering junk food, binge-watching instead of working, your brain rewards you with a hit of dopamine. And that reward makes it harder and harder to choose the harder thing tomorrow. So when people say, just be disciplined, they're basically telling you to go to war with your own biology. No wonder you failed before. But here's the shift that changed everything for me: discipline isn't about forcing yourself to suffer endlessly. It's about training your brain to crave the hard choice instead of the easy one. That doesn't happen overnight. It's a battle fought in small, almost invisible decisions. The little wins you stack when nobody's watching. The promises you keep that nobody else will clap for. Discipline is built in the shadows, and only later does the world see the light. Here's the truth nobody tells you: discipline doesn't start with giant life changes. It starts with ridiculously small wins that feel almost too easy to matter. Think about it: if you've been hitting snooze for years, deciding you'll suddenly wake up at 5 a.m. every day is basically declaring war on yourself. You'll last a couple of mornings, then crash. And that failure reinforces the story in your head: see, I'm just not disciplined. But what if instead, you just focused on making your bed as soon as you wake up? Or drinking a glass of water before you check your phone? These wins are so small your brain doesn't resist. And every time you repeat them, you send yourself a new message: I follow through. I keep promises. That identity shift is where discipline really begins. Because the more small wins you stack, the more confident you become. The more confident you become, the bigger the wins you can tackle. Suddenly, you're not someone trying to be disciplined. You're just someone who is. And once that switch flips, everything changes. Here's something most people overlook: discipline isn't just about willpower. It's about the environment you create. Think of willpower as a battery. If you're constantly relying on it, it drains fast. That's why so many people say, I'll start tomorrow, and then never do. The battery is empty before the day even begins. But your environment? That's like plugging your battery into a charger. If your kitchen is full of junk food, you'll eat it, not because you're weak, but because it's there. If your phone is buzzing with notifications, of course you'll scroll. So the real trick is setting up your environment so discipline becomes the default. Remove the junk food, and suddenly eating clean is easier. Silence your phone, and suddenly reading a book feels natural. Surround yourself with people who push themselves, and suddenly discipline feels normal. Discipline isn't about being superhuman. It's about making the hard choices once, by designing your environment, so you don't have to fight those same battles every single day. That's how you turn discipline into something that feels effortless. Here's the truth most people don't want to hear: discipline isn't a switch you flip. It's an identity you build. If you keep telling yourself, I'm lazy, I can't focus, I always give up, then no system or routine will save you. Because every action you take will eventually bend to the identity you believe about yourself. But if you shift the story, even in small ways, everything changes. Instead of saying, "I'm trying to work out," say, "I'm the kind of person who doesn't miss workouts." Instead of, "I'm bad with money," say, "I'm someone who takes control of my finances." That small shift creates alignment. When your actions and your identity line up, discipline stops feeling like force and starts feeling like truth. So here's the real way to become disciplined. Start with small wins that prove to yourself you can follow through. Design your environment so success feels natural. And most importantly, change the story you tell yourself. Because once you believe you're disciplined, your brain will fight to protect that belief. And that's when discipline stops being something you chase and starts being who you are.